Game design is like an extremely complicated magic trick. A good magician maximizes the audience's enjoyment of a trick by strategically limiting viewers' information and nudging them into the right emotional state in order to make the unexpected reveals as fun as possible. That's exactly what game design is, getting players to engage with the game in the most enjoyable way and subtly guiding them into the ideal emotional state for experiencing every part of the game, all without the player feeling like the developers are controlling them. These emotional states don't always need to be joy. Sometimes games want you to feel isolated, angry, hopeless, or terrified. Because of this focus on emotion, game designers need to make sure that the mechanics in their games are designed in a way that complements those games' atmospheres, systems, and that they press the right buttons in players' brains to give them the ideal experience. Without further ado, here's three game mechanics I think are perfect. Unlike other combat heavy games, Sekiro isn't just about hitting a guy until his health becomes zero. The game has a posture system where you have to overwhelm your enemy with attacks and deflections as fast as possible to break their posture, interrupting their attacks and allowing you to perform cinematic executions on them. To deflect or parry enemy attacks, players need to press the block button at the exact moment an attack lands, and players are expected to improve at this through practice and muscle memory. And it enforces both by having everything instantly kill you if you breathe in their general direction. Where other games give players many options, Sekiro sticks to its guns, katanas, I don't know, and focuses on one style of play, being relentless, aggressive, and very good at parrying. Why is the posture system perfect though? To an outsider, it just sounds like health with extra steps. But the key to this all is that the enemy posture recovers over time, and the speed of this recovery depends on how much health the enemy has. This means that just parrying perfectly isn't enough, and you're forced to take risks and deal damage to your opponents. These two ideas are the exact opposite of one another. On one hand, you need to wait for an enemy to attack so you can parry it and deal posture damage. And on the other, if you wait for an attack, enemy posture will regenerate. This forces you to do two things at the same time: dealing damage to lower the recovery speed, and parrying attacks to lower posture. In gameplay, this means you're constantly chasing your enemies and dealing damage to them, while at the same time always being ready to parry an attack. And this makes the gameplay really fun and dynamic, and puts the player into a wonderful state of flow. It really is fun, and many people find it to be the best of them all. Nintendo games are praised for their commitment to their game's central ideas, and, controversial opinion, but the wild's central idea is exploration and freedom. While at first it may seem that the game's central idea is dissecting the prison industrial complex in Reagan's America and exploring how for-profit incarceration affects disabled prisoners, it focuses even more on Hyrule and the player's freedom to explore as much of it as they want, whenever they want. Almost every single aspect of the game serves that, and that's why it was, and remains, many people's favorite game ever. This effortlessness in its design stems from it not feeling obligated to check boxes and meet quotas, and when you look at how well its mechanics intersect, it shows. Here, I'm going to highlight the camera, which you unlock at the beginning of the game. You can use it to mark things you find interesting, which adds them to your map and makes a color-coded beacon appear above them, allowing players to find them with ease. It sounds really simple on paper, but using your own eyes to find things you want to check out is one of the most fun parts of exploration, and it makes your journey unique and personal, as you've decided where, when, and how you'll visit those points of interest. The game allows you to set the pace of your own journey, and having markers instead of lines on the map encourages you to get distracted along the way by monster camps, horse herds, sleeping cyclopes, that's the plural of cyclops for some reason, I don't know, traveling merchants, and many more fun things to find. Because the markers stay where they are until you go and remove them, you can go off the path to pursue whatever you want without worrying about losing or forgetting your original destination. A bonus point I'd like to add is that the game has lots of towers. which in a game designed around climbing to the high ground, then gliding down to wherever you want, gives players good waypoints to scout out areas. You use them to find cool places and then use them to get there, serving two important functions at the same time, further demonstrating the harmony between all the mechanics of the game. Hollow Knight is one of my favorite games ever, and it's not just because of Zelda. The game has one of the most beautiful worlds I've ever seen in a game, and it allows you to miss insane amounts of it, which lets every player have their own unique journey. A trick Elden Ring also does, and it's no coincidence that they're both my favorite games of all time. The combat is amazing, the art is jaw-dropping, the music is ridiculously good, like check this out, it's insane. And the world itself is all around worth exploring, with many friends and foes to meet. I could spend 8 hours convincing you that Hollow Knight is amazing, but you probably know that, and that's not what this video is about. The mechanic I'd like to examine today is the map, which is especially important in Metroidvanias, as they let you know where you are, where you've been, and where you're going. Except that Hollow Knight adds 3 great twists to that. 1. Your map only fills in areas you've been to. 2. Your map only fills in when you sit on a bench, which are this game's equivalent of checkpoints or bonfires or so on. 3. You can only start filling in your map after you find an NPC and buying a map off him. This means you never know where you are in a new area until you find him, hopefully with enough money, and means you can get really lost very quickly, which is how the game forces players to explore blindly, taking in the sights and defending themselves against new enemies they're not used to fighting. Like many good Metroidvanias, the game revolves around discovery and exploration, and by doing these things, players have to venture into the unknown with nothing but their intuition to guide them. You're only given information you already have, sparing a bunch of wrong turns, but nothing more. It also shows you which paths you haven't taken yet, which takes a lot of confusion and annoyance from the exploration, especially if you skipped something vital and can't get anywhere without it. In short, you know how much of an area you've covered, where you've been, and where you should go. A final point to this point, that's pointception, is that if you've explored everything in an area except one path, because you needed an ability you didn't have at that point, it'll be clear where you should go when you backtrack to it after getting the ability you need. As for the second point, not knowing where you are on the map and how deep you've ventured into an area makes you move cautiously, because in Hollow Knight, when you die, you leave all your money behind, so if it's really far from your bench, you've got a better chance of getting killed on the way, losing all your money. This is a big part of the feeling of adventure as you go exploring, as there's a lot to lose at all times, unless you've already lost your money, in which case you can just waltz around without a care in the world, proving that money really is the root of all evil. Now, for the third and final point, you don't even start off with a map. You need to buy one for every area you go to, and that means you need to find Cornifer and have money on hand to get one. Cornifer is a light in the darkness and loneliness of Halnest's ruin, and you find him by following his cheerful humming. This is very important in managing the player's emotional state, helping them avoid a bit of hopelessness in the face of all the danger and loneliness ahead. Cornifer's humming and pleasant conversation offers players a break where they can let their guard down and relax for a bit before embarking on further exploration. Video's over now. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it interesting or enjoyable, preferably both. I'd love to see what mechanics you find perfect, so please leave those in the comments section, along with any suggestions or criticisms you might have. Sorry again for the narration. I don't get many chances to record at home, and I barely speak English in my daily life. Finally, consider liking and subscribing if you'd like to see more videos like this, and have a good day.